I think kickers in the NFL should all come together as a collective to intentionally shank warm-ups when they are iced. That way, they will make the actual kick when it actually matters. Welcome in, everyone. I'm your host, Harrison Goodrich, and this is Chalk Talk. We're going to run through the biggest winners and losers from the Week 1 Sunday slate, so go ahead and get started. Well, might as well go ahead and rip this band-aid off. Huge loser, Younghoe Koo. After doinking a PAT earlier in the game, Younghoe Koo shanks the game-tying field goal basically as time expires, resulting in a Falcons 23-20 loss. And let me add, this is only a 3-point game because the Bucs kicker decided to see who could be worse as he missed the PAT, which would have put the Bucs up 24-20 with about a minute left. So even after Michael Penix drove the Falcons down into field goal range with only a minute left in the game, Koo still shanks. I think it's about time that we cut his ass because he has officially lost his clutch gene and it's been gone for a while now. I wanted to quite literally throw up, put it in a box, and ship it to Koo's household so he knew how much of a monstrosity that kick was. Anyways, winner, Michael Penix Jr. He threw for nearly 300 yards, a passing touchdown, and also rushed for a touchdown with about 2 minutes left. He was pretty much putting the team on his back. Even after the Falcons defense gave up a touchdown with about a minute left on the clock, Penix still put the Falcons in position to go into overtime. You know how that one ended. Luckily though, Penix looks legit and hopefully his kicker doesn't sell him again going forward. Loser, Falcons running backs. DeJon and Algier combined for a whopping total of 22 rushes and 48 yards. Pretty much all I need to say there. Winner, Emeka Egbuka. He led the Bucs with 67 yards and 2 touchdowns, with that second touchdown being the go-ahead score. He looked very solid and proved that he probably will be the successor to Mike Evans and or Chris Godwin. Also, honorable mention to the Falcons defense. They only allowed 260 total yards. However, they still gave up 23 points and that final touchdown in that 2-minute drive. So moving on to the Steelers and Jets here. Winner, both offenses. Aaron Rodgers haters must have loved this game as he looked like his former MVP self, throwing for 244 yards and 4 touchdowns. Fields also looked like a first-round pick finally himself, notching 260 total yards and 3 total touchdowns. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall also had 100 yards each, with Wilson also grabbing a touchdown. Steelers receivers also look like a competent bunch, with Calvin Austin III emerging as maybe a wide receiver 2, notching 70 yards and a score. Losers, both teams' defenses. Steelers' defense was definitely worse in this game, giving up nearly 400 yards compared to the Jets' 270. Both teams gave up over 30 points, looking like absolute wet napkins. I guess you could say the only saving grace was for the Jets defense. They only allowed 53 rushing yards and also notched 4 sacks. But this game was absolutely ridiculous. A lot of high-flying offenses, totally blew the total points out of the water. So if you bet the under, nice job. And that marks our very first #Vegas doesn't know shit award. Next up here, the Packers absolutely shellacked the Lions. So first big loser, Lions coordinators. It looks like everyone's concerns with all the Lions losses came true, specifically with the losses in the coordinator department, as the Lions came out completely flat and looked like a total shell of their former selves. Division rival Packers didn't have a crazy day in terms of total yards, yet they still scored 27 points. Lions offense ended up getting just over 250 total yards because of a garbage time final drive, which was their only touchdown on the day. Pretty freaking embarrassing. The Lions might actually be in some trouble. Winner, Packers defense. Like I mentioned with those numbers a second ago, the Packers defense absolutely dominated the Lions all day. They picked off Goff once, sacked him 4 times, and also held the Lions to under 46 total rushing yards. Which brings me to my next loser, Jerry Jones. Dallas lost Micah and he got his first sack. That pretty much just confirms that Jerry Jones is an absolute moron and that he has completely lost his fastball. Our first winner here in the San Fran-Seattle game is the Niners defense. They held Darnold to 150 yards, no touchdowns, and Seattle rushers to 84 total yards. They pretty much showed everyone that yes, their defense is still good with Robert Saleh back, even though they lost a bunch of pieces in free agency. Loser, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's not a loser because he had a bad day. He actually had a great day, notching 9 catches for 124 yards, but it was all for naught. That's why he's a loser, because he had a fantastic game and they still lost. Winner, Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey. Pearsall showed everyone why he was a first-round pick, notching 108 yards on the day. CMC proved that he is actually healthy this year, not just bullshitting all of America this time, notching 142 total yards. Guess we'll just toss in another loser here real quick. Sam Darnold on that final 2-minute drive. He fumbled in the red zone, which sealed the deal for that game, and you just can't script it up for Sam Darnold any better than that. Moving on to Rams-Texans here. This one was a real barn burner. First loser, Texans passing game. I don't know what exactly happened, but the Texans just could not throw the football. They had a lot of different receivers catch some balls, but that only totaled up to 188 yards and also a pick. Also, Nico only had 5 targets on the day for 3 catches, and that's got to change because Nico's on my dynasty team. Winner, Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua. Mr. Staph Infection, Go Dogs, became the second fastest quarterback to reach 60,000 yards behind big sexy Matty Ice. Stafford threw for 245 yards and a touchdown on the day. Puka caught 10 of those passes for 130 yards and also may have gotten a very dope looking battle scar in the process. Another absolutely riveting game here. We got the Browns and the Bengals, with the Bengals barely squeaking this one out. So first winner, Bengals defense, maybe. They only allowed 49 rushing yards on the day, so that was pretty good. However, Flacco did throw for 290 passing yards, but they did pick him off twice, with the second one sealing the game, and they only gave up 16 total points, so that's why I'll give them a win here. However, loser, Bengals' entire offense, literally just the whole offense. What the hell is the point of playing a bunch in the preseason if you're just gonna come out with shit down your leg? I mean, you are telling me that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins only combined for 59 total yards, plus Chase Brown only had 43 yards on 21 carries, yet the Bengals still won the game. That result was kind of wild. I guess that's some optimism for the Bengals defense. Maybe they won't be absolute garbage this year. Starting off here in this Giants-Commies game, the first loser, everyone that watched this game. This game was just completely ass. Everybody knew the result of the game before it even started. Commies only scored 21 points, but they did have 400 yards of offense. 220 rushing yards for the Giants defense is a terrible stat considering that the D-line and the front seven was supposed to be their strength. Winner, Jacory or Bill, whatever the hell his name is, Krosky Merritt, fantasy owner. He got the most carries for the Commies and ended with 82 yards and a score, so anyone that drafted this guy, you just lucked out. Vegas beat the Patriots here, and our first winner in this game is the Geno to Bowers connection. Again, fantasy managers should rejoice seeing this game because Bowers still got it, and Geno slings the rock. That connection looks to be strong. Geno got many other receivers involved as well, throwing for 362 yards and a score. However, loser, both teams' rookie running backs. Genty was held to just 38 yards and Henderson was held to 27. One saving grace for Henderson though, he only had 5 attempts to Genty's 19. Besides Genty's score, it was an absolute terrible start for the young phenom. Also, I just wanted to say suck it to all you fantasy managers that took him #1 overall. Big winner though, Kayshon Boutte. Love this guy's name, so I'm very happy that he had a great day. He notched 6 catches for a $103. Vegas, you just got Kayshon Boutte, but it still wasn't enough to win the game. Now looking at this Colts-Dolphins game, this one was pretty damn hilarious. Loser, the entire Miami Dolphins organization and also Peter Schrager for saying the Dolphins would be good this year. This was an absolutely embarrassing outing for the Dolphins and pretty much just confirmed everyone's concerns on why they were going to be a terrible football team this season. Herman Belova really lived up to his name with 2 interceptions and also a fumble. The Dolphins barely had over 200 total yards on offense, and also they got absolutely waxed, giving up 33 points to Daniel Indiana Jones of all quarterbacks. Winner, entire Colts organization. Colts honored the late great Jim Irsay at half during this game, so I'm very happy that the team could come out and absolutely slap the Dolphins in the mouth and secure this huge win. Jones looked like a star, throwing for 272 yards and a score, and also rushing for 2 more. Steichen showed that he is still a good coach in the NFL and deserves to keep his job, which cannot be said for the coach in Miami at the moment. Big losers in this Broncos-Titans game, both teams' quarterbacks. Quarterback play in this game was pretty trash. Neither threw for over 200 passing yards. Nix threw 2 interceptions, and Ward was sacked 6 times. Broncos had 4 turnovers, and the Titans had 2. So overall, very sloppy, shitty game. Our winners on the day, we got Franklin and Sutton fantasy owners. Sutton had a very solid 61 yards and a touchdown. Also, Troy Franklin finally got some targets. He was second on the team in targets with 6, but he only had 44 receiving yards, so Gotta work on that part. And yeah, we're just gonna quickly speed run here through the Cards Saints and the Panthers Jags games because they're both pretty damn boring. Winners, Cardinals and Jags defenses. Losers, Bryce Young. He looked like an absolute bust again. And also the New Orleans Saints. Yes, they still suck. And last, but very certainly not least, we have this phenomenal Sunday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Bills. Ravens defense. What in the actual fuck was that? Biggest fucking loser of the week award goes to you. I mean, your offense drops 40 points. 40 on the road against one of your biggest conference rivals who just knocked you out of the playoffs the season prior. And how do you repay your offense that dropped the 40 burger? By absolutely selling the shit out of the game in the fourth quarter and forgetting how to play defense. I don't know how you sell a football game that hard. I was literally making the graphic you see down here for a Ravens win and talking about them winning the Super Bowl and all this BS. And they go and sell the game. Over 400 total yards for Josh Allen. He just showed that he was him. He's that guy. I was going to talk about how Lamar should have won the MVP last season, and Allen just slapped that shit right in the mouth. I mean, come on, Baltimore. You have Pro Bowlers all over that defense. It's literally one of the best rosters I've probably ever seen. Just to get absolutely shredded, torched by Josh Allen and a bunch of dudes. I feel so bad for that Ravens offense. They put up over 450 total yards. Just to lose. And I was even going to talk about some of their insane plays like the D-Hop touchdown, which is a wild grab, or that Lamar scramble, which was also nuts. But none of it mattered though. I will say though, the Ravens offense did get super conservative on that final drive, which I mean, I get it, but like, holy shit, with how on fire Josh Allen was playing, honestly, I feel like you got to get aggressive there. Yeah, and also Bills fans, big loser tonight. They in fact actually suck. A lot of them left early, and someone even thought it was a good idea to throw a full beer at Derrick Henry as he was running in for a touchdown. Also, some kid decided he wanted to scrap with D-Hop and Lamar. That was probably my favorite highlight of the whole day. Hilarious shit, dude. Absolutely wild. What a way to end the first Sunday of the NFL, man. Thank you to everyone that watched this one. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm your host, Harrison Goodrich, and that was Chalk Talk. Peace.